on an issue which we are being told it requires more time for termination. We cannot do it as a National Assembly. So what's required in this House? Let's be fair to everybody. The issue we are talking about, sugar, Mr. Speaker, is a serious matter. It touches the common life of Kenyans. So as far as I'm concerned, it is not fair for a member to bring a motion for us to discuss, and that somebody who cannot defend himself in the House, first of all, on an allegation which he cannot authenticate. I wish, Honorable, you should have brought the export entry documents to prove the money was lost. Because we need evidence. The evidence we need here is the export documents, which shows these are the entries, these are the vehicles, and this is the revenue which was lost. That attachment is missing in a motion which you want to cause an amendment. But more important and fundamentally, that the investigation is not complete. And with that, Mr. Speaker, we cannot sit here to condemn somebody on an investigation which is not complete. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Governor. Honourable members, I think sooner than later I will be making some determination on the way forward, because I quite appreciate what the Honourable Manson Nyamoya said. But I think it's also important for us to bear in mind what the chairperson of the committee has just said relating to the observation. In fact, it's for that reason that I'm really keenly looking at this observation. And indeed, I feel the fairest way ought to have been a minority report. So that, because now we are saying you want to replace the observations by the committee. And then the House now is being called upon to concur. So the House will, by assuming that this is a minority report, it will be assuming that it has made the observation. It is for that reason, Honorable Olagwa Watch, please address me on that issue of standing order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm sorry to say this. Members who have been addressing the House after Honorable Dio have lost the substance of what he said. He raised two issues only. One, on personal interest, which hasn't been addressed. Two, whether or not you, as the Speaker, you are satisfied that, in your opinion, matters raised here are so substantial that they should be raised or not. That's for you, the Speaker, to address. It's not for us to address. It's not for yes or no. It's for you, the Speaker, to decide. Yes. And I say so with authority, Mr. Speaker, because standing orders are not just for the sake of standing orders. Standing orders have their foundation under Article 125 of the Constitution. As serious as that. And when
124. 124.
124, I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker, 124. And when you are asked as a Speaker to make a ruling under Standing Order number 48, it behoves upon you and nobody else in this House to make that ruling. And I say so again because if you look at 56, Standing Order 56, it follows that every amendment shall be relevant to the motion which it seeks to amend, and shall, I repeat, shall not raise any question which, in the opinion of the Speaker, should be raised by a substantive motion after notice is given. This motion, amendment by Honorable Shelley, is so different from the report of the committee as day and night. So clearly, what Honorable Shelley is trying to do is to upset the report of the committee. That he can't do the way he has done. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to urge you that instead of prolonging debate on this issue, make a ruling as required by Standing Order 48 and 56. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Kenta, let's hear somebody from this other side. Honorable Kenta. Can you give him? Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. In fact, I'd like to join my colleagues on the other side on this one. Why am I saying so? I'm saying so because I believe this is a fair house, and I believe it is a house that does not act in vain. I have looked at the amendments, and I don't know why conclusions should be reached when they are still awaiting the decision of the Board of Mumias. Because when you say you are waiting for a report, and the report has not come, how do you reach conclusions? The other issue that should be looked at is that this is a company. A company has a memorandum of articles of association, I presume, because this was a premium company. I remember trading in shares of the company. So how do you make an individual, whether a board member, whether a manager, whether an MD, be responsible for the actions of a limited liability company? It can never work, and it should not work. So I believe it will be wrong for anybody to say that Dr. Kidero should be held responsible. Because are you saying all the other parties should go scot-free? Because you are mentioning other people. You are mentioning KRA, you are mentioning other limited liability companies which are doing trading. How do you just let them off the hook? Do you even have the authority as a house? Or we are being told, just that is the target, forget the others. So I believe we should be fair in this one. It's not a political contest. It should not be actually used in such a manner. And I believe let's just reach a conclusion that is fair, that is just, and that is actually going to assist this country. So I believe this conclusion in 115 should not be allowed in this house at this time. So that's my position, Mr. Speaker, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this chance. Mr. Speaker, I know I don't come from the sugar belt, but we don't put fish in our tea. We use sugar. So in a way, we are also beneficiaries. Mr. Speaker, I want to say at the onset that I'm a member of the Committee on Agriculture. And I want to say that the members of the Committee on Agriculture have actually complained very bitterly that the Committee of Agriculture has been held at ransom. Issues of livestock, issues of fisheries that we are dealing with have become an issue of the sugar industry, and very specifically Mumias and Kidero, Mr. Speaker. And for the first time, not the first time, Mr. Speaker, we were even taken to the ESCC. Some of us were being taken for anti-corruption for the first time because of this issue. And the Chair, Mr. Speaker, one of the things that I think I need to inform the House, that after we were taken, Honorable Washali retracted and said that he was fighting his personal wars. That's why he even alleged that the committee was bribed, Mr. Speaker. So what I would want to say, Mr. Speaker, an issue has been raised about 48 and 90, even though we have not made reference to 90, but I want to agree with Honorable Lagwa Lodge. And Mr. Speaker, in making this, as we are persuading you, Mr. Speaker, to make this decision, I'd want to say that as a House, we are actually being called to make a very serious determination, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, the serious determination we are being called upon to make is when a committee has made an observation. Can an individual member come and substantially change an observation of a committee? Mr. Speaker, if we allowed such, we would be making a very dangerous precedent in this House. Because an observation is different from a finding. An observation cannot be an issue of perception. Mr. Speaker, it cannot be an issue where the House, make a decision. It's an issue that is really personal to that committee, that was able to look at the demeanor of witnesses, that was able to physically attend areas, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I would want to urge that you help this House and declare that the amendments that are being pushed by Honorable Washiali should not be allowed under Standing Order number 48. But Mr. Speaker, I also want to speak to Standing Order number 90. That Honorable Washiali has said and has indicated that based on the documents that have been presented by Honorable Jacoyo, that is not in any way associated with the company that has been put there. But Mr. Speaker, if you actually read that Standing Order number 90, Mr. Speaker, it is very clear that it does not require you to be a director, Mr. Speaker. It says a member who wishes to speak on any matter in which the member has a personal interest shall first declare that interest, 2, personal interests include pecuniary interests, proprietary interests, personal relationships, and business relationships. Mr. Speaker, what has been inferred is that he has a personal and business relationship with the director of that company. And I think it would be in order for Honorable Washiali to denounce on the floor of the House that he does not know the directors of that company, not whether he is a director of that company. Because, Mr. Speaker, if he denounces that, we don't want a situation where we'll denounce, and very shortly we will be seeing affidavits being sworn, which has become the trend in Kenya, and SMSs going around, and Facebook things which have been covered where he is with the director of that company. Mr. Speaker, from personal experience and knowledge, as a member of the Agriculture Committee, there is a very serious crisis facing the sugar industry in this country. And as a committee, we have tried to deal with it, and we have been distracted by personal interests of sugar barons in this industry, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, if he's really minded about the sugar industry, let him step aside and let those of us without interest deal with the sugar industry, Mr. Speaker. I'll call upon you, Mr. Speaker, to make a ruling in relation to the issues I've raised on 48 and 90. I know you are a bit distracted, Mr. Speaker, but I'm sure they will advise you on what I've said in relation to 48 and 90. And Mr. Speaker, maybe I can just repeat in relation to 90, is that he has said it's not in... I'm glad you have heard me. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for indulging me.
No, honorable members. No, honorable members. No, Honorable John Bandi, I appreciate, and I can see there's a lot of interest in this matter. But allow me to say one or two things. One, honorable members, I want to take this opportunity to thank the Honorable John Olagwa-Luoch because he has contextualized this matter. Honorable members, standing order number 48 reads as follows. The Speaker may permit a member to move in amended form a motion of which notice has been given, if in the opinion of the Speaker, the amendment does not materially alter any principle embodied in the motion of which notice has been given. Honorable members, if you capture the first line, the Speaker may permit a member to move in amended form. That refers to the mover of the motion. It's only the mover of a motion who may move it in an amended form. The Honorable Washiali is not the mover of this motion. Honorable members, and I think, honorable members, the reason why I started by saying that I'm thanking the Honorable John Olagwa-Luoch is because he has brought out some very pertinent issues captured in standing order number 56. And therefore, honorable members, because I've looked and I've listened to you address me on the issue of the proposed amendment, which has not been seconded, because the point of order was raised before it was seconded. I will stay debate and give a considered ruling on this matter tomorrow at 2:30 on the question of admissibility of the proposed amendment or otherwise, based on what is appearing in standing order number 56, against the contents of the motion and the recommendation and observations that the motion seeks to amend. So, honorable members, I would have been persuaded to say that I will make the ruling on Tuesday, but as has been said, this